a system that mostly will be focusing on the technical overbought and oversold conditions of the market, and of course with it we can trade also the market direction in any kind of trend and retracements in most cases as well. The focus will be 30-minute chart. Now the few exceptions we have for this system, first one of it is that we should pretty much rely on the system to tell us when to enter and when to exit. It is not going to be pip based profit targets, or it would not be, as I mentioned, fixed pip based protective stops. Rather than that, we will rely on the system to tell us at which current time the market is in overbought or in oversold conditions for us to make our move. Now, furthermore to that is to add that the profits in this system are quite frequent, as it relies on daily, let's say, intraday swing type of trading. In some cases, it could involve scalping, because our exits, could pretty much come in a matter of a few minutes, despite the fact that we're looking at 30-minute charts. We're only spotting our entries on that particular time frame. So for the exits, as I mentioned, they could come within the same matter of session in a matter of 30 minutes, or within the next few hours. Maybe it could be able to sustain at least a day of profits. However, the fact that it is quite fast, very rarely you will receive only one signal for a day. You could actually have about 5 up to 6 probable trades, and once more time, this is quite a reliable system, because it filters a lot of negative, possible negative effects of our account balances. You will see in a matter of a few minutes when we start using it. There's a combination of 3 particular indicators. We have spoke about them for a long time. However, one of it we have not used for very long time. But given the fact that current market conditions, ladies and gentlemen, are somehow suitable to use the Williams percentage range, it gives us very accurate on-time signals to enter and to exit. So far, with a combination of the other 2, of course, aligned in time, we can filter all of the fake signals. All is a little bit too exaggerated, but let's say most of the fake signals. From time to time, of course, we would see ourselves into a few losing positions. Of course, there is nothing perfect in the world, but the reliability of the system can guarantee some pretty good experience, especially when it comes to grasping a move like this one, for example. That's about 30 pips. If I'm not mistaken, the system gave us an entry somewhere around on this level, which this is about 40 pips in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions. That's 2 hours. That is about $400 on the lot, which means that's half a day work for about $400. And we all know what would happen if we use the system plus today. We can see that's over 100 pips in a matter of 2 days trading. Well, let's go ahead, start plotting this system. First, we're going to go to the oscillators to find the Williams percentage range. I've preset a period of 21. I'm going to need a little bit of a bigger period for the Williams percentage range, because it's much faster than any other overbought and oversold conditions indicator that we know. The rest, we also have them here. However, one of it will be used on top of the other. Those 2, we will be speaking about the stochastic preset 533 And of course, just a second, from here we will take the commodity channel index with a period of 14. This is pretty much how the system looks like. Nothing complicated. All of this, we've covered it many times when it comes to knowing the indicators, what they measure. Now, when I firstly mentioned that the system filters a lot of negative signals, I mean that the only way that we can filter those signals is to enter within the conditions of that system. And that is when the Williams percentage range is below the levels of oversold and breaking through the upside, and of course below the level of 100, minus 100, we have a crossover of our two other indicators, that's the stochastic and the commodity channel index. So our entry comes around this level here, and of course it gives us a positive outlook for about 20 pips in a matter of 1 or 2 sessions. That's about half an hour to an hour. This comes right after on the next crossover of these two. Two conditions we might have on our exits. First of all, if we see a crossover back to the other side of the stochastic and the CCI, we are up to exit our current position. Also, if both of indicators are entering into overbought territory and one of the indicators is crossing back below the level of 100, this is also our exit point. Now we will see exactly how that happens in the future. Let's take a look at this particular case where we have a crossover above the 100. Our Williams percentage range is actually signaling us long before that, somewhere around here, just a candlestick before that, that we are on the right track. So from here down to over there, right somewhere over here, that's about 60 pips. We have, it's actually over here when the commodity channel index is crossing above the minus 100. So that's roughly about 57 pips. That's $570 in 7 sessions. That's 3.5 hours. I suppose that's pretty good condition to consider the possibilities of the that you're presented right now. Also, another case we have with the crossover over here to the upside below the level of minus 100. Our Williams percentage range have already plunged through that oversold condition, and on these dodges we are ready to enter for a profit of around, let's see, the crossover should happen over here, somewhere close to about 10 pip range. You can see the crossover over here, or you can simply exit straight over here when the indicator is crossing the 100 level. This is the stochastic. Sometimes the stochastic will cross it first. Sometimes the commodity channel index will cross it first as well. It depends on the market conditions. But in this case, somewhere in a matter of a few sessions, we have about 13-15 pips. That's $130, $150 on a lot. Now, I'm saying on a lot because it's very easier to calculate. However, it really depends on your trading plan, basically on the risk management system, ladies and gentlemen, that you're using at the moment. Whether you can sustain a particular negative running balance, negative running positions for some time until the indicators reach the level of exits, so you can collect your profits. Also, you should remember that the most conservative way to go for the market is probably to choose somewhere in the matter of levels between 5 and the maximum of 10% risk to your balance. All of this is still my way of trading, the way I have configured best for my particular case. But you might have another way to manage your risk. However, if you have any difficulties in finding a way to do so, or you have trouble, making a trading plan on your own, we can always assist you on this. Just get in touch with us. Go to our website, gdmfx.com. Over there in the bottom right corner, you will see a pop-up chat. Our support department will be very kind to respond to all of your questions, so it will be within a matter of a few minutes. Or if you have any urgent matter, you can always call us at on our telephone numbers. We will respond right away. This is how it works. And of course, I have to remind you one more time that the system is recorded. The session today is recorded as well. So as soon as our department, which is currently in vacation, returns to the office, I suppose that would be from next week, we will master the 2 final webinars and upload them into the YouTube channel, and you can, review this session one more time if you think you have missed something. Now let's scroll a little bit backwards here to see another case of a crossover just at the 100 level of the commodity channel index. This is also an acceptable level to enter a position, especially when we have the same direction pointed from the Williams percentage range. It's very interesting here is some of you guys might want to develop this as a robot, as an expert advisor, to give you alerts when you have those crossovers, so you don't have to watch your phone while you're working or your computer platform while you're working. But of course, if you're a full-time trader and you need a new system that that works for you, this is a very good way to stay occupied pretty much throughout the whole day. Now, also here we have the exit somewhere in the matter of about 10 pips. Where exactly is that crossover? Somewhere here on this candle, as I can see. Or of course, on the reverse scenario, you can wait for it to plunge to the upside. However, I would pretty much go for the first scenario here, because when you're trading, guys, you're locking some kind of an amount. So the next position that you have to open will be pretty much with the lowering standards, like small lot size, different trading conditions, stop losses, so on and so forth. So if you don't want to wait for a few more hours until you get the more aggressive type of approach, to wait for the system to reverse direction, you can always collect your profits right away, use the money for another position, and of course try to speculate on another currency pair or a commodity. It's very curious here, one of the exceptions, it's performing extremely well on currency pairs or any kind of instruments with very tight spread. So the more that you can actually squeeze out of the market, the better. That doesn't mean that if you're trading, for example, some exotics with a very huge spread, you will not get profits. The fact that the spread is very big, you will have to wait for a very long time for the price to reach levels of profits, which will, on the other hand, will be relatively smaller compared to profits with the same amount of pips on a currency pair which has tighter spreads, simply because you're not paying that much money for the spread itself. And of course, then you can spread it even for the commissions, so on and so forth, and everything will rebalance in time. So at the end of the month, when you draw the line, you will see that we have some pretty good profits. Now, when I'm saying those crossovers, this is something very important that I need to tell you. When we consider those crossovers, check over here, when the crossover happens below this -100, and this is a crossover that it's telling us that it's bearish direction, but only 2-3 candles afterwards, we actually get a very valuable signal to the upside. And as you can see, it goes pretty well. Here we're collecting profits on a very thin trading as well. Also, when I'm saying that the crossover to the upside should always happen at or below that -100, or vice versa for bearish positions, because when this crossover happens within the midst of the channel between minus 100 and 100, it's not that the direction is a false direction, that it's giving you invalid signal. It's actually going to be a very small move, basically unsustained direction. But when we technically, from a technical perspective, have that crossover down under here, and we can see that the Williams percentage range is breaking through its oversold conditions, we can definitely say that this position would be valuable for at least 10, 20, 30 pips, maybe 40. You have no idea how big the move could be. This will be up to the market, and most of all, it will be up to the system to tell you pretty much when to exit. There is also a case here, bearish crossover, as you can see on this small doji. The Williams percentage range gets out of the overbought conditions right over here on this one. But even if you have entered the market on this one, you will still get a pretty good 10, 12 pips of profit somewhere around here on this candle. It's very thin. However, if you wait for the market to, for the Williams percentage range to cross from its overbought territories towards the downside, your profits would be relatively bigger. However, this is up to you to decide. It's not a must. It's usually a case where one happens to cross over, the other one follows, and vice versa. If this one has already turned bearish simply because it's much faster, you will get a very, very clear picture that the next time you see your bearish crossover like this one here, the move could be very aggressive within the next few sessions, and you will be able to collect some pretty neat $230 profit within a matter of 1.5 hours, and that's somewhere around here. And as I mentioned, for the more aggressive traders, they might even want to go for the reverse direction when one of these indicators is breaking out of its negative territory, which gives you about $300 of profits, but that is 6 sessions later. So if you don't want to wait for that amount of time to collect your profits, you might just go ahead for the more conservative way. You're collecting your profits much faster. During these 6 sessions, okay, that's 3 hours, you might get another signal to use that $230 and multiply them again. So that is my idea of sticking to the safe side, let's put it this way. It's very good to have a proper risk management system, because whatever system that you're using to trade and make your profits, if you don't manage your risk properly, you will end up in trouble, pretty sure. Let's take this case here, for example. As you can see, the system is picking up the tops and bottoms basically, and it's signaling reversals. We can see that the Williams percentage range have broken from its overbought territory, but our crossover here has happened already, which means that we might enter to the downside somewhere over here. We can see that a few sessions later over here we have another bearish crossover. So basically our exit comes over here or over here, somewhere within the matter of about 4 to 5 pips in this case. It's pretty thin though, but it's still a valuable trade. Also in this case, as we can see, our particular condition of a crossover is validated when our Williams percentage range breaks off of its oversold territory, and it comes 2 sessions to give us another $230 of very good profits. In a matter of 2 sessions, that's 1 hour. Let's take another look to this one. We've already talked about it. Crossovers like this one are those that we're looking for. You see the crossover above these levels, above the level of 100, and then you have the Williams percentage range breaking down from its overbought territories, only to give you another $150 in 3 sessions. That's 1.5 hours. So Sorry, it was here somewhere. Yes, this one. So you can see how clearly the system is filtering out all of these possible wrong directions. You have a crossover here, but you're actually, this is also a valid one. As we can see, the crossovers here, multiple crossovers like this one. So basically, it's still a valid signal. It continues to the upside, 10 pips, to run you in a bit of a negative territory, but then it goes back over here. So it really depends on which trades you might decide to pick. Basically, I would pick all of them. I would go for the absolute maximum of this system, but I would definitely stay away from crossovers that happens below our 100 level. This is the 60, 62, 62, as you can see. Our Williams percentage range is also in overbought territories. It goes down here, yes, probably, but then our first signal comes on this one. So basically, we're sustaining a little bit of negative direction here until we go to the positive side on this candlestick, where we have a case where, one more time, I would like to mention that it's always very good to pick, the touchings or the crosses of the levels below here of any of the indicator in order to get your profits, because you will have to sustain a very long period of upside until the market reverses and gets you back down to that very same level where you should have exited 62 sessions ago. So, and of course, during that time on that running loss is going to cause you problems by biting your nails off, ripping your hair off because you didn't exit right on time, or you missed the exit, because it happens sometimes. Nobody's perfect, of course, but the fact that you have to wait 62 trading sessions to exit on a break-even or just a bit of profit and sustain the whole period of about, what is this, is about $500 of running loss. And a lot of people will actually kill it long ago, when you see that you're missing out on good opportunities during this whole period of time. Also, let's have a look at another case where the system have its flaws. Of course, you cannot be always perfect, but as I mentioned, to filter those negative outlooks on the system, we have to miss out on a few good ones as well. You can see those crossovers that happened just above, between the minus 100 and 100 channel, where pretty much very good $500 profits could be made. However, you will see in cases where the system will actually protect you from bad examples, like this one, for example, here. It's a mixed signal. It's also crossing over here. You have the conditions there, but still you're missing out on this opportunity basically for all of the risks that you don't want to take further in the future. But of course, cases like this one are always there for you to take. Let's take a look one more time at some other cases like this one. This is also a case that will actually pass on. We can see that it's still in negative territory despite the crossover over here. So far, I can see that there is a lot of downtrend, which the system is not exactly equipped to follow that particular trend. It's a short-term trading system, basically intraday trading, like this one, moves like these, where you can actually squeeze out quickly $100 to $200, $300 of profit, make like 5-10 trades per day like this one. And if you have close to $2,000 of an account, you will easily go for 50% per day profits. This is what I have managed so far with it. However, as I mentioned, this system might not be for some of you. You have to see it, test it, try it on a demo, see if it works for you. And of course, you have to use it on your own risk. It's not a trading advice. Please remember this. It's always for educational purposes. However, it also works for me. And I'm using it in many cases. I'm using it especially on sideways ranges. It's very suitable because it's very a quick system, enter and exit. And the current market conditions of the euro, for example, considering the below 1 pip spread on the euro, you can see how quickly you can squeeze out very good profits on it. And for some time during this period here on the sideways direction, we received so many signals, we actually took advantage of all of this. And what we actually have on that chart is a clean candlestick chart with 3 indicators below it, and there's nothing else that we need. We don't need the Bollinger Bands here because they are actually going to conflict with our system, because to make it work with Bollinger Bands, then we have to rely on the lower levels of the Bollinger Bands. And then we actually go down to 60% of accuracy. Then actually we bring it up to 80–90% accuracy when we trade without the Bollinger Bands. So that's all about the system, nothing difficult. If you have any trouble setting it up, or if you have any questions regarding the system itself, I'm always going to be happy to answer all of your questions. You can drop us an email at webinars@gdmfx.com, or as I earlier mentioned, go to our website and you will see all the contact details over there that you need, especially if you just ask your questions on the support department chat. You will see how quickly our colleagues will manage to answer all the questions. And of course, if they cannot and have no knowledge of exactly what the particular case needs resolvement, they will directly give us your contact details, so we can directly give you a call and assist on any case matter. That's all about today's session. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I will see you next week for our last 2 sessions of these month's webinars, where we'll be talking about trading on 15-minute charts, trading on 5-minute charts, even more aggressive tradings, and more scalping for also very good profits. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.